Hey, it's Marco from FightingSecrets.com. See a lot of commentary and controversy regarding these Craig Jones versus the ADCC Abu Dhabi Combat Club, the quote-unquote Olympics of grappling. I wanted to, throw in also my thoughts on UFC 93 as well as the Texas Stock Exchange. The main theme is there's always going to be disruption in the business world and in the martial arts world. Competition is a good thing. If you know who Adam Smith is and the invisible hand and capitalism, some people are associating capitalism negatively. I could say the same thing about communism. My father escaped from a communist country. They actually seized personal property. So anybody that's looking at that kind of a model as even something worthy of talking of, I think loses all credibility. What we're talking about that's negative about capitalism is corporatism. Free trade and competition is the impetus to making things better. That's why we are where we are right now. Sure, there are a lot of poor people in the world. There's poverty, homelessness, but those things have become businesses right now when you think about it. But getting back to the Craig Jones, this disruptive model is going to work for him now, being that he's going head to head. At some point, they're going to bifurcate and each making themselves better. So ADCC is going to have to step it up in terms of what they provide for their athletes. Craig Jones, he's going to set a new standard. Also a way to create publicity. He's doing a great job there. Sort of reminds me of things like when the UFC came out. That was a totally disruptive model. All the traditional styles had a hissy fit about how their stuff is too deadly or would never work in that situation. And to some extent, I agree. You can't rip somebody's eye out or drop elbows on somebody's spinal cord when they turtle up. But without the pressure testing there, I think most styles would have led somebody down the wrong path. So the UFC 93, now if you noticed, there were competitive venues as well, World Extreme Combat, World Championship Combat, etc. Now we have the UFC the way it is right now, and PFL, One Championship. So these are all great things for the athletes. I think what's really missing is you have to, as an athlete, you have to look at yourself as a business and learning the ways of business. Same way you apply your skills and training in the martial arts and improving yourself, you have to do that in the business world. I mentioned the Texas Stock Exchange. Citadel and BlackRock right now, I think, are raising almost $120 million. And they're thinking about creating competition for the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. So right now, the two leading exchanges for selling stock or companies going public. Now, unfortunately, it's starting to delve into like a blue versus red or woke versus non-woke, but there's nothing wrong with competition. That's going to play itself out. There's other stock exchanges internationally. It's just, being on NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange is it's like saying you graduated from Harvard or Princeton. But and we know what's happening with the Ivy League schools these days. Is that really a great thing? I think the competition is good. One of the difficulties is the regulatory environment and the threshold to get into the New York Stock Exchange. The costs are very high, so that's going to be one of the benefits apparently for the Texas Stock Exchange. Now, this disruptive model, to kind of personalize it, Kano started Judo. I mean, the guy was 18 years old when he started taking Japanese jiu-jitsu arts, and within 40 years started Judo. Can you imagine today some average guy just studying martial arts for 4 years, whatever it is, multiple martial arts for that matter too, not even mastering one, and then starting a style, right? I've always had the visions of grandeur that I can start a system, Tetsubushi Jitsu, and I have 43 years of martial arts experience with black belts in 3 different styles: Kyokushin Karate, Judo, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So There's always been disruption. I mean, just look at the combustion engine. So getting back to the Invitational, I think everybody's sweating it. It's a great thing. I have no skin in the game. I'm going to be 58 years old. I'm not going to be competing in any one of those venues, although I would do a exhibition fight against Jake Paul or Floyd Mayweather for a 7-figure paycheck. I'll do that in a heartbeat. I'll do it in any range, boxing, MMA, table tennis, whatever you want to do. But so those are my thoughts on the CJI and the ADCC. The most important thing is, and here's a lesson that I learned when I was negotiating a lease on my martial arts studio many years ago in the mid-90s. When I was negotiating with the landlord, I had an epiphany that whether I had 1 student or 100 students in my class, that guy was getting his rent every month. So I literally that day decided that I was going to get my real estate license and get into sales, eventually going into investment sales. I've sold about $2 billion worth of commercial real estate. I own investment properties, and frankly, one day I will be reopening a dojo under the Tetsubushi Jitsu banner, and hopefully that will be the next disruptive model in the martial arts arena. Os